Namaste. So, you want to become enlightened, eh? But do you have the qualifications? In other words, if you want to be a doctor or an airline pilot or a great musician or a great athlete, you have to have certain qualifications. You have to get training, and you have to be approved by your peers that you have the skills and the character to perform that function. Otherwise, you can't. It's just a sham. It's just words. And the same thing is happening in the field of self-realization. Unfortunately, the confidential parts of the Vedas called Upanishads have become public domain. The secret is out. The cat is out of the bag, and it can't be put back in. Once it's gone, that's it. So now we have all these unqualified people, beginning with the British colonial scholars, going through the most confidential, secret, sensitive, sacred parts of the Vedas. Why? Because they wanted to dismantle Vedic culture. They wanted to sabotage it. But somehow or other, these books all got translated into English, for good or for ill, who knows? And now everybody is reading them who has any interest in self-realization and thinking that now I know. You don't know. You don't. Because just like becoming a doctor requires so many years of schooling and training and practice under supervision, and then finally examination and approval by a medical board, in the same way, attaining enlightenment requires not only so many years of background and training and work under supervision of someone who is already enlightened, and then who finally gives final approval that, yeah, you got it. People are freelancing. They're taking these books and taking other things as well, like drugs, and reading them and thinking they know, thinking they understand. But they don't understand. Because when these literatures, when these secret works are taken outside of the environment in which they are meant to be studied, they don't produce the result. What is the result? A change in consciousness. So if someone is reading Upanishads or Aranyakas, another secret part of the Vedas, and then mouthing the words, like a parrot, just repeating the words like a tape recorder, and thinking that they know, no, they don't know. They don't know. There are certain qualifications even to be admitted to the school of the Upanishads. What are they? Well, Shankaracharya, our great teacher of non-duality, has given them in his commentary on Vedanta Sutra 111. The spiritual requisites required for study of this confidential knowledge are basically four. First is viveka, discrimination between things permanent and impermanent. Viveka, we did a series called Drishya Viveka that is exactly about this. And basically, only the self, only Brahman is permanent. Everything else is impermanent. That means we should be ready to give these impermanent things up in order to attain the permanent. We want to give the changeable things up to attain the unchanging, the permanent, the real. So we should renounce the unreal. If someone actually understands aham brahmasmi, that I am Brahman, if they actually get it, then they would let go of all material things. They would stop trying to attain wealth, fame, knowledge, beauty, all these things that people go after, and they should drop all their materialistic relationships. And that leads to the next qualification, which is sannyasa, renunciation of enjoyment of the fruits of action, both here and hereafter. So in other words, I'm not anymore going to perform material actions. Because why? I don't desire the fruits anymore. I'm discriminating, vivekaha, between the temporary fruits of material actions and the permanent results of realizing Brahman. And that includes religion. Even the ceremonies of the Vedas, the Agnihotra and so forth, are given up by one who actually realizes Brahman or wants to become qualified for realization of Brahman. Why? Because the fruits of those ceremonies are elevation in the next world, in the next life. Sometimes you get wealth and little things here in this life, but mostly the Vedic ceremonies are meant for opulence in the next life. And if we're not going to have a next life, if after realizing Brahman, that's it, there's no more reincarnation, then what's the use? And the next qualification is called the 6 treasures. 6 personal qualities that one must have, beginning with sama. Sama means not allowing the mind to externalize. In other words, no longer identifying with the material body, senses, and mind, but remaining in trance, in meditation, focused on Brahman, within, on consciousness, not on the body or mind or anything else. Dhamma means checking the external instruments of the sense organs, so minimizing material enjoyment, especially sex life. So celibacy is required according to Vedic instructions, even for sannyas. One must give up family life and leave home. And of course, that immediately excludes women, because women can't take sannyas. Yeah, I know there are some women's lib fanatics who pose as sannyasinis, but it's bogus. It's not approved in the Vedic literature. We follow the Vedas. The Vedas are independent. They're not dependent on any social, woke values or anything like that. They are independent because they are of Brahman. Next is uparati. Uparati means restricting the mind from thinking of the objects of the senses. Because as soon as one thinks of them, then actually one begins to manifest relationships with them. So not thinking of women, not thinking of wealth, not thinking of name, fame, position, titles, labels, designations, positions. All of these things are given up, and the mind is restrained from thinking of them. See, this immediately cuts out all the institutional teachers who claim to know the Upanishads. Because how can they be members of an institution without a title? Swami so-and-so, a director of the such and such temple or whatever. Huh? No, they reject all those titles and the functions that go along with them. Next is titiksha, which means forbearance, tolerance, not reacting even when provoked. Like on this channel, a lot of people come and make provoking comments, trying to start an argument, trying to start a controversy. Why? Just to bring attention to how smart they are. I delete them. I don't tolerate nonsense on the channel. Why should I? Why should I expose myself to that kind of disrespect? But other than that, I tolerate them. I don't try to stop them. Hey, they can go off and start their own channel if they want, you know. If they're so smart, let them prove it. Like one guy yesterday made a comment, very critical, about our previous video. And he quoted all kinds of shlokas and this and that and blah, 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 trying to start a big controversy. I just deleted it. You know, it's not like I don't like him, but I don't want to be distracted, and I don't want our viewers to be distracted from the truths of the Upanishads. Then there's samadhana. Samadhana means fixing the mind on Brahman, thinking always of Brahman, thinking always, I am Brahman, aham brahmasmi, tattvamasi, you are also Brahman. And finally, shraddha. Shraddha means faith. One should at least contingently believe in the truths of the scriptures. Contingently means I will believe it until proven otherwise. And of course, if you actually follow them, you will get immediate proof that they are true. Finally, the last one, most important one, mumukshutvam, the intense desire for liberation. Liberation means I am no more going to create a material body, a material identity, a material mind full of material thoughts. I am no longer going to identify with anything in the material world because it's all illusory. That was the number one, right? Viveka. I'm not going to identify or recognize the reality of that which is impermanent. So this leads to a condition called moksha. Moksha means liberation. But without having these qualifications, 9 qualifications, no one can even begin the training. No one can be admitted to the school, the bona fide training that teaches the knowledge of the Upanishads. So, yeah, what are you going to do, you know? People today want a shortcut. They want a cheap, easy way to enlightenment. And I'm here to tell you, it does not exist. It's an illusion. Because it's something created by human intelligence, whereas the Vedas are created by divine intelligence. And so we should only follow the Vedas if we really want enlightenment. Aum Tat Sat. Aum Shakti Aum. Aum Namah Shivaya.